Just when you think we're done with the news and the G1 fans are unhappy about the recent Beast Wars shift for the War for Cybertron trilogy, it comes all rolling back, and it looks like we got some other amazing news and something that I'm very excited about. Via comicbook.com, we got our first look at what would have been the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. We're still getting it, but it would have been the exclusive if the show would have happened. And it is that of the Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy Quintesson Pit of Judgment 5-pack, recreating the iconic Quintesson Judgement scene from the 1986 movie My Jam. I love this movie. It introduced me to Transformers when I was a wee lad back in 1986, and any kind of stuff in relation to that gets my love. But this set is not only amazing, but it also is actually surprisingly a good value. And I'm going to jump into that right now. So what do we get with this set? So first of all, you get a Quintesson Judge that is a slight redeco of the actual original Voyager Quintesson toy from Earthrise. Now, how much of a redeco? Very little. It's mostly just a different hue of the grays to the purples in some areas, and same thing in different little spots. Nothing too major, but nothing too, off-putting either. You get a redeco of one of the Sharkticons from the Titan Returns mold, the Scout class, if you will. Again, nothing too different from the original that it would be like, oh man, that's terrible. We get a Quintesson Bailiff, and what I like about this is it's a complete repaint and remold of the Alicon that we recently got with Earthrise. So it has the brand new face sculpt and everything, and that is really cool because it adds a little wrinkle into your army building. You can recreate the scene where Kranix gets pulled away by the Bailiff. And speaking of which, we also get two little non-transformable, brand new, unique to this set, little figurines. We get a Quintesson Prosecutor, the guy with the multiple tentacles that goes guilty or innocent. And he looks really cool. My only complaint is he's a little tiny. If he was a little bit more to scale with, let's say, the Quintesson or the Alicon, I'd understand. But at the end of the day, I guess, maybe he always was tiny. It's kind of hard to tell. He never really was like 100% next to anybody unless he was getting crushed by some Dinobots. So maybe if he was a little larger. But, I mean, I still dig that he's even there at all. We also get Kranix. Now, this one is another case where I would have liked it if he was a little taller, but I understand what they were going with here, which is the whole idea is that you could put him inside the mouth of the Quintesson so he could be getting eaten by it, and because of how that whole that judgment scene was done, where he was just this tiny little guy surrounded by all these imposing figures, it just works out because of the final thing about it, the cardboard display. So we don't know what the full box of this is going to look like, but it's going to have an inlet cardboard display where this figure is going to be, well, all these figures are going to be displayed in that amazing scene, and it even has the little pit. So this is going to be probably one of those cases where I don't know how it's going to look when it's in the box, but it's going to be probably one of those things that in the box it's going to look so sexy that people probably won't even want to remove it from the box. But I mean, I think it looks great. I really do. And I mean, again, they show images that, hey, because it's the Earthrise Quintesson that still turns into a base, you could still transform your Quintesson into Quintessa Planet, I guess we could call it, and put your Kranix inside the cage of the Quintessa base. I like everything that's going on here. So what are we talking about in terms of how we get it and price and the value that I was talking about? So first of all, it says here it'll be available exclusively on the HasbroPulse.com website. So if you are outside of the United States, that will be a little scathing for shipping. It's going to be $69.99 and it'll be available in September. They're going to talk about more about it tomorrow, obviously, on the Hasbro Pulse Fan First Friday. So that might be one of our 10 things that were going to be revealed. And comicbookbot.com just kind of jumped the shark, or jumped the Sharkticon in this case, in comparison. Now, again, let's get back to that price, $69.99. Now, why do I say that's actually a good value? So here's the skinny on that. When you think about what you get in the pack, so a Quintesson Judge, if you look at the Earthrise Quintesson, that's $29.99 in general. I mean, obviously it could be $31 in some areas, but $29.99 basic MSRP retail. The Sharkticon, which was a Titan Returns redeco from a couple years back, I believe that was a $9.99 price point. Again, you could shift $1 or $2 depending on where you're getting it. And the Quintesson Bailiff, which is an Earthrise Alicon remold, that's $19.99. Again, you could shift the price depending on where you're getting it. That was a deluxe. So just those 3 figures, let's ignore all the other stuff for now, but just those 3 figures already puts you at $60. So then when you're talking the Prosecutor and Kranix, I mean, if you feel that fills in that extra $10, that puts you right at the $69.99, the $70 right there. So the crazy thing is if you probably would have bought all this stuff like in the wild individually, it would more or less come to the same price. So there's no premium markup by it being an exclusive or in low numbers. This is right on the money. If not, maybe even undervalued, because again, it's going to come with a fancy box with the cardboard display that's going to be all nice, and these 2 uniquely molded figures unique to this. So I really dig this a lot. I think it's an undervalued product that you're actually getting more bang for your buck. It represents an iconic scene from the most important piece of Transformers fiction, in my opinion, which was the '86 movie for me. And it's just something that we would all want as collectors. If you're someone that is a G1 collector, you want to own a piece of the '86 movie because of just all those iconic set pieces. And this just speaks to me 100%. I know it's going to speak to a lot of people, and it goes back to what I was saying in the previous segment. Even though we're going to have a very beast-heavy year coming with the Kingdom stuff, there still is going to be G1 stuff for the G1 collectors to have. If anything, I feel like maybe it's the Unicron Trilogy guys that are now kind of like scraping, going like, well, where's our representation? But, you know, that day will come. Mark my words, that day will come. But this is really cool stuff. Let me know what you think about it. I'm really game about it. I just got to figure out how to get all this Hasbro Pulse stuff cheaply sent to me, because Canada, forget about it with shipping to us. Like the starting point for anything is easily like $30 American shipping for the smallest items. So it's going to be a bit of a drudge for me, and I can only feel sympathize with also people across the ocean in the UK and everything. But that's just the name of the game. At the end of the day, you got to get a P.O. box or something in the States or have someone to hook you up. But yeah, that's that. Let me know what you think about this. I'm hyped. I think it's great. And I know that, once again, tomorrow, we're going to have so much more to discuss when we have the Hasbro Pulse Fan First Friday.